No, I fully agree with you. But that would take me back to the other thing, though, right? If you are able to claim disability, or you're able to receive your disability SSA or anything like that, means you exist in the system somewhere, right? So then
Mm-hmm.
we should help you get your ID. Okay, so um, on some level, there's a caseworker on some level. All right. So why aren't you? It doesn't have to be a picture ID, because sometimes you can go vote with a freaking piece of mail. Okay. So that right there makes it harder for people who are not the people who pay bills, though. So now I don't have a piece of mail. Right. But if you have benefits, then why can't you fill out the forms, get them notarized? We got traveling notaries and all that stuff that's done at the, whatever expense. We can make it possible for people to be registered to vote. We can make it possible for
Sure.
people to have ID. We choose not to. We leave it. That's the problem with our society. We leave it to the individual to be responsible to be able to do things. And that is absolutely ridiculous. There are some things that need to be individualized. That's part of the beauty of America. But there's also the collective aspect of
Voting.
America, right? So certain things we should help each other be able to do, but we choose not to because it doesn't serve that end point that we want. Oh, and I meant to say this about when he brought up like harder to get to the places to vote and things like that. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
remember, because this was a big deal some years ago, but it's never stopped, but it just didn't catch on. But this thing called interstate cross check. Republicans have been using interstate cross check for the last few elections. It's a horrible process. What they do is they look for your name and they try to find the same name on the voting rolls somewhere else. Okay. So then they can say, well, you're registered in this state and you're registered in this state. So one of these has to be fraudulent. We're just going to wipe you off the voting rolls. They don't tell you about it. Nothing. They just shut it down, wipe you off. Well, let's see. It's not as prevalent in the black community because our names are more unique or stylized, I guess you could say, but it's enough that it matters.
Mm-hmm.
But in the Latino community, in the Asian community, where names are very repetitious, you are able to wipe out massive numbers of people from the rolls. And if they don't catch it in time and
Mm-hmm.
go and re-register, or well, actually they have to re-register because ain't nobody telling you what happened, to make sure that you can vote in the next election, you show up and find out you can't vote. So that's
Right.
currently happening. And then you have the situation where, because I used to attend my local community's elections board. They play mad games out there. So they will decide, oh, well, we don't have enough money this election cycle. So we need to close this polling location, this one, and this one. Oh, we don't have enough staff volunteering to come in a year from the election. So, everybody ain't even really signed up yet. We don't have enough staff. So we need to close this one and this one. Next thing you know, you trying to vote. Your polling location is closed. So you show up where you think it's supposed to go. They send you up the road. You go to that one up the road, and they tell you, no, it's not here either. Then next thing you know, so now you've completely missed early voting because you can't figure out where you're supposed to be. So you got to go to the main election site on election day, where the lines are going to be up and around the block, and you still have to go to work, or you got to pick up your kids, or it's raining, or whatever, or they're short staffed. So you're sitting there in lines for hours. These games are being played, and they're played intentionally. But once again, they'll say, that's all in your mind. You're just being too sensitive. Well, it's funny how these things only seem to happen in certain areas, and they disproportionately impact certain demographics. Sometimes that demographic is racially based or ethnically based. I try to use ethnic instead of racial. But other times it's class based. Poor white, poor black, and poor Latino, they tend to live in the right there, we live right there together. So when they break one, they break them all.